Hello, this is Mike Hay. I'm going to give you 5 tips on using animation in PowerPoint. The 5 tips are: use the animation button to add multiple effects. Cut down on the clicks to keep in control. Don't overdo it and support your story. Don't stack objects, duplicate slides. And if you want to make a movie, use something else instead. Okay, before we start though, let's talk about animation in PowerPoint. Animation in PowerPoint comes in 4 types. There are entrance effects, such as these. And then there are emphasis effects. And exit effects. So on any object or piece of text, you can add an entrance, an emphasis, and an exit effect. There are also motion paths, so you can select an object and make it move in a particular path, such as this. Okay, let me demonstrate how to add animation effects in PowerPoint. I'm going to quit out of slideshow mode, and here I have 2 objects. I'll select one of them, then click on animations, and this one I think I'll zoom as an entrance effect. So when I put it on slideshow again from this slide and click the button, the red circle appears. Now I can also add a motion path. So here I'm selecting the black circle, and I'm actually going to select a motion path. If I click down here, and I'll click on shape like this. Okay, now as you can see, it's actually going in an orbit like that. I can simply select the orbit or the path and then move it around here, change its shape to actually go around the red circle like this. Now if I put it on slideshow again, I can do this, and then it goes around the red circle. Okay, let's go back into slideshow and I'll show you the 5 tips. Okay, the first tip is about the animation button. There are 2 ways of adding animation effects in PowerPoint. First of all, you can select the object, and then you can use this pane at the top to select the style you want, and that adds an animation effect to your object. However, if you then click another animation effect, it replaces the first effect with the second one you've clicked. So the best way to add multiple effects onto an object is to select the object and then click on this button here, the animation button, and then you can add multiple effects. So let me demonstrate this. Now if I wanted to add an entrance effect to the black circle, I can select it, go to animations, and I can then choose. If I click an effect here, it'll just replace it. But I want to add multiple effects, so let's go to add animation, and I'll choose an entrance effect. I'll have it flying in like this. In fact, I want to fly it in from the corner, so let's go here, effect options, and I'll go from the bottom left like that. Okay, now I also might want to have it to appear first and then to orbit. So let me just, I've got it selected, just move it in front of the other one. So if I now go into slideshow from the current slide, 1 click gives me the red circle, 2nd click gives me the black circle, the 3rd click gets me to orbit around the red circle. Okay, now let's have a look at the next tip. Just return to where I was. So the second tip is to cut down on the clicks. The slides we saw earlier with the 12 stars in them, originally when I set up the effects, they were down as 15 separate different clicks to actually include the animation. Now, a much better way of doing that is to group them so you have effects appearing after the previous effect. Now, the reason why this is important, because if you've got 15 clicks on one particular slide and you're presenting in front of a large audience, there may even be a delay, and it's very, very easy to get lost into where you are in your presentation, and things are happening on screen that you're not keeping up with. So I think it's absolutely important that you actually have the minimum number of clicks on your slides. So if you want to keep in control, cut down the clicks. My third tip is don't overdo it. Now here's one effect. When you use it for the first time, it might be impressive. Use it for a second time, it's kind of interesting. The third time, it's getting a little boring. The fourth time, it's distracting. By 5 times, I personally find it annoying. So don't use it too much. Do not use animation too much. However, my advice would be, if you're going to use it when it helps to support your story. So here, for instance, I have a chart with some statistics about different attributes that people might want for a product now. And in the future, these are the percentages. So the bars are coming to help me tell my story about the statistics now, statistics in the future, and how they compare. My fourth tip is about don't stack objects. Now this is a slide where I've got different statistics and charts appearing on the left hand side. All very good. It looks quite interesting. There's different topics popping up in there. It looks pretty good. Okay. However, is that if I actually exit this now and look at the slide, you can see those objects are stacked on top of each other. Now it's quite difficult to see, if you're going to present this slide, how you're going to rehearse this. What piece of information is going to come up first? It's quite easy to get lost, and it's also difficult to print this out or email it to somebody and give it to them as a handout. So my advice would be is that yes, you can use all those effects if you want to, but I would actually duplicate your slides. So I'd have one slide here with the chart, one slide for the table, one slide for the pie chart, and they're the exact same slide, but I've actually just duplicated them and changed one element of the slide. So again, if I actually put this on slideshow now, you'll be able to see is that it's the first effect, it's the second effect, and then we have the pie chart coming up. And it looks exactly the same, but it's much easier to control your presentation, to rehearse it, and also to share it with people after you've presented the slides. Now, my fifth and final tip, if you want to make a movie, a PowerPoint presentation with lots of animation in there, my personal advice is not to use PowerPoint. Now, PowerPoint is a great tool, but I find the animation effects and applying animation effects takes a lot of time. And my personal view is that if you use PowerPoint, there's a kind of sweet spot for actually adding impact and improving your slides. After which is that you have a diminishing return in terms of the impact you get for the amount of time you spend. And I find I might add a few basic animation effects into my presentations, but if I add too many, I'm putting a lot of effort in, and I'm in this part of the curve, not really adding a great amount of value. I might be adding some value, but it's not paying off in terms of the time I'm putting into the presentation. So hopefully you found those 5 tips useful. Thank you very much.